objects in Illustrator can have color or shading applied to the inside, and that's referred to as the fill, or to the path itself, which is referred to as the stroke. With a selected object, we can very easily fill an object with a different color, which is part of our swatches panel, by selecting that particular color from the fill box in the control panel, and we can switch off the black stroke that we currently see on this object by choosing a color called None. We can also use the color panel to mix colors and apply colors to selected objects. So if I select this bottom object here and I would like to switch off the black stroke on that, I first need to target the stroke square in the fill stroke option right here, and then I can again click that color called None and change the fill color by targeting that fill box to black by clicking black right here. Now if you don't see your color sliders, then check from the panel menu whether the show options is currently displayed. You can also pick whichever color mode you are currently working in. I'm working in a print document, so we're looking at CMYK settings. The color panel is a nice location where we can mix and match colors. We can also just pick up a color here from this color spectrum, and if you're happy with your color, you could then add that color that you've mixed to your swatches panel so that you can reuse it over and over. Now to do that, you can mix the color right here, go to the panel menu and select Create New Swatch. To apply that color in a global manner so that it's associated to objects in your artwork that have that color applied to it, change this into a global color. I'll show you in a second how this works. You can immediately see in the color panel that the color is now named, and we have different tints that we can apply this color in. I'm going to select these three objects here, and I want to change the fill color of all of those. The fill object is already selected here and also in the bottom of the toolbox, and I'm going to pick the color from the swatches panel right here, and it's been applied. Now to switch off the stroke, I can either click on the stroke box in the bottom of the tool panel and click None here, or use one of the other techniques that I've already shown you. I would now like to apply a lighter shade of this particular yellow color to the label of this bottle. To do that, we'll click the fill box again, and we can now change that into a different shade. If I want to edit that swatch color right now by double clicking it, and I'll enable the preview, then what you'll notice is that as I make changes to this color throughout the entire document, wherever artwork has been associated with this color, it will automatically change. Let's now take a look at what else we can do with strokes. Selecting these two lines, first of all, we want to increase the thickness of the lines, and we do that by changing the stroke weight. I can also do that here in the stroke panel. The stroke panel also has a hidden option that only shows you the weight, or an expanded view that shows you many more settings. One of these additional settings that we can display is the ability to pick an arrowhead or an arrow end on objects. So let's pick first of all the shape of the head, and I'll change that to something else. It's a bit white, and we'll use a little circle at the end. Now currently the size of the arrowhead and end is far outweighs the stroke weight, But luckily we can scale these separately from the stroke weight. To do that together, make sure this little link item is selected to scale the end and the start individually. Deselect this option. I'm just going to push this down to make this a little smaller, and I can quickly pick the stroke color right here. And again, I can also access all of those stroke settings here by clicking the stroke link. This particular object we will turn into a dashed path. If I enable the dashed line option in the stroke panel, I can now set a dash gap pattern that I want to apply. Let's turn the dash into something kind of big and the gap a little bit smaller, maybe 8. And just click off this object to see what that looks like. There's one additional thing that is very cool that we can do with strokes, and I'll zoom in to this chicken and turn to the width tool. Now currently all of the strokes applied to this artwork are 1-point strokes. With the width tool I can select parts of that path and change the width in different locations. That's kind of cool because you get these really nice visual effects. These variable width settings can be saved as a profile, and Illustrator actually ships with a number of predefined profiles as well. Let's just take this chicken again and set the stroke value back to 1 point and show you how you can select from this variable width profile drop down any of the available variable width profile settings. I'll just increase the stroke setting again so you can see the differences here in how these apply to your artwork. So that's a quick introduction to what you can do with strokes and fills in Illustrator. It's actually very cool and you can be super creative with it.